All right, you guys, welcome to getting your offer accepted in today's multi-bid market. So how many of you are having trouble right now getting your offer accepted in today's market? All of us? Okay, not me. What's your average turnaround right now to get an offer accepted from meeting a client to getting them in escrow? What's the turnaround time? A couple weeks, a couple of months?
Probably about a month. Yeah.
Month? Okay, right now my average turnaround time when I first meet a buyer to getting them in escrow is about 10 days. And I say that with them when I meet them up front. It takes me about 10 days to get you in escrow. But I also do a lot of pre-framing. I'm going to go over that in a second. A lot of what we do as agents is we react to our environment, right? Our client kind of dictates what we're going to do. The listing agents tell us how things are going to kind of get done. And our problem isn't those people, it's us. We're not pre-framing the situation correctly, right? When we meet clients, when we talk to listing agents, we need to let them know how we're going to work and how things are going to get done. And that's the biggest key in today's market right now. So on our agenda, number one is finding the right lender. I know we have a lender right here in front. Pre-framing your client, crucial. Speaking with listing agents, it's also pre-framing as well, and I'll get to that. And the last part is crafting the offer. So I'll walk you through exactly how I make my offers, and I call it crafting it just because it sounds a little bit better. But I'll show you exactly how I do it step by step. You know, and I do income, and I do standard FSR homes as well. Okay. Now the income properties are a little bit easier to get accepted, but it's all basically the same thing. Okay. So finding the right lender, you got to find the right attributes. How many of you have lenders? We all do. How many of you have lenders that you use for 10 years and they're always the best? All right. Well, I'm going to go through some of these things. These are things that you want to look for because these are the key things. You need to have them on your team. Okay. Your lender is on your team, escrow is on your team. All the people that work for you for this transaction are going to be on your team, and they need to work the way you're going to work. And when you speak with these listing agents, you're going to be telling them exactly how you work. And listing agents want a high-powered agent working for them if they're going to accept your offer. So number one, your lender needs to know the game plan and your style of working, okay? And must adopt your style of working when he or she works for you and with your clients. Okay, so when you meet with your lender, I don't know if you already have them, great. If you don't, you know, I can refer a couple of out, but you need to let them know the game plan. Okay, especially right now in today's market, they have to know the game plan. Okay, they have to be able to close quickly. They have to be able to scrub clients beforehand. They got to really know what your style of working is. Okay, so again, needs to be able to meet high demands, no cracking under pressure. You know, I've been through a lot of lenders, and I met a lot of lenders that don't perform and take their time, don't answer phone calls, and don't respond to emails and don't get stuff done. And those are the people you need to fire. Don't work with them. Don't waste your time, even if they're your best friend. Okay, you're here in business to make money, not lose it, and you don't want a pissed off client. Okay, friendship is friendship, business is business. Separate those two if that may be the case for you. Also, your lender must be able to close loans quickly. My lenders all can close loans FHA in 21 to 25 days. Okay, now provided everything has to go along pretty perfectly, but you need to have everything done, right? So what does the lender need? We have a lender right here. What do you need to be able to close that quickly if you're going to close that fast?
You have the client pre-approved off the spot.
Pre-approved off the spot. You need escrow instructions how long? 2 weeks after the escrow opens or immediately?
Right away.
What about the prelim?
Same thing.
Same thing, right? Those are the two things that you mainly need. RPA, prelim, and escrow instructions. Okay, most agents don't know that. They just get an offer accepted and then they wait for escrow to contact the lender. Wrong. You have to be in charge and get this thing sailing as quickly as possible and smoothly as possible. And that's what I talk about with the listing agents as well. Okay. And you must have a relationship with the appraisal management company. Not that they're going to have 100% control, but they need to be able to have some flexibility. Okay. And I'm sure most of the lenders out there will tell you that they have some type of relationship with these management companies where maybe the value is $5,000 short. You can send in some additional comparables or show some additional work that was done to the property or whatever the case may be to try and help you with your value, or you know, whatever the case may be, you need to have some flexibility. You can't be super rigid. Okay, so you want to find a lender that has a little bit of flexibility when it comes to the appraisal, because that is probably our biggest killer right now. I've had two escrows fall out of escrow because of the appraisal. And even with this, I mean, it's tough. Other part is must scrub the client before entering escrow. So what do I mean by that? Your lender needs to be on top of it. A pre-approval is not good enough for me. I want a DU approval with very little conditions. Anyone know what a DU approval is? You know what a DU, you know what a DU, you know what a DU is? Most listing agents don't know what it is, and I explain it to them on the phone, but you need to get a DU approval with very little conditions, meaning letters of explanation are in, gift letters are signed, sourcing, all that stuff. What are some other key ones that can hold up a couple of days in the transaction besides those ones?
Bank statements, copies of canceled checks that are non-payroll related.
Okay. So and they're real minor things, right? But they you call me and then I call the client, then they get it to me, and I give it back to you, or even if you call direct, you're still going to lose 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days delays a transaction, to delay something else from getting done. Those 2 or 3 days could be a week or 10 days. So you want to make sure that your lender's getting everything done up front. Okay, not waiting until you get an escrow to start scrubbing the client. Okay, and must provide you with a pre-qualification letter. Most listing agents want the pre-qualification letter anyways, because again, they don't know what a DU approval is. Some do, but most of them do not. So send the DU approval, and then when we get to speaking with them, you'll explain what that is. And then front page of credit report. The only reason you need the front page and you don't want the whole credit report, can anyone tell me why? Why? You just want their FICO scores, but if the listing agents get a look at their credit and they see everything, they might be able to see, oh, they have a lot of trade lines. They may say they may not qualify in the end result, and you don't want that. Like if I seen someone with 15 credit cards, I may not take their offer versus the person that just showed me the front page. So you only want to show what needs to be shown. 760, 720, 700. They look perfect, right? You're not showing all their other stuff. And they can be perfect even without other stuff, but again, it's just going to make them look a little bit less qualifying. Sound good with the lender? We're going to move on to the next part now. This part is crucial. It's pre-framing your client, setting the tone. How many of you pre-frame your client when you meet with them? You do. Okay, so great. So we got some good people in here. So initial consultation with new client. Client must be informed of today's current market conditions. So you need to tell them that there's 50 other buyers just like you. They're all going to write offers that are at least 10% over asking. They're all going to be putting all these things down. You need to let them know exactly how the market is. Don't sugarcoat it. Okay, if they can't accept it, good. You don't need them. You don't want that. You don't want to work for them. Okay, you need to work with buyers that are ready to go, that are willing to accept today's demands. Okay, would you work with 10 sellers that are overpriced, or would you work with 10 sellers that are going to price it just right? Why waste your time, right? It's a no-brainer. Same thing with buyers, especially more so with buyers. Okay, because you're going to spend more time with a buyer showing property, writing offers, than a listing. Okay, client must be made aware upfront of showings and how writing offers will be done. Okay, so when you're out showing property, my rule of thumb is this: I'm going to show you 10 houses in one day, okay, and I'm literally going to bore them showing property, because my objective is when I get back in the office, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get on to my next 7 out of 10 rule, but we're going to probably write 7 out of the 10 properties. We're going to write them up on offers, okay, and out of those 7 out of 10, none of them are going to get accepted. And I tell them that up front. So I'm pre-framing them. Why? Because when we start looking at more property, and it's going to happen, I want to be able to write offers directly off the MLS and not waste my time showing property. I know it sounds bad, but that's what you have to do. Okay? You don't want to waste your time. Unless you have someone showing you clients for you, you don't want to be wasting your time showing property. Today's market is too high in demand to be out there showing property all day long. You're never going to get anything done. Okay? Now, a lot of you might ask, how do you overcome it when they don't see the property, the offer gets accepted? Real simple. Husband and wife? Oh, thank you, Mr. Listing Agent. I see that you accepted our offer. You know what? The husband went with me actually that day to look at the property, but the wife wasn't present. Is it okay if we go take a look at it one more time before we finalize this offer? You know what always happens? Please look at it to make sure that that this is going to be a good escrow, because I don't want to be canceling. So they let me go look at it again. Okay, no big deal. Or another one you can use, you know what, Mr. Listing Agent, my client's seen the property, but we actually looked at about 12 homes that day, and they're all kind of fuzzy now in their mind. Do you mind if we take a look at it one more time just to make sure this is the property for them? What do they always say? Go take a look at it one more time, and let's make sure they're going to close this escrow. It's real simple. Okay, again, you just have to pre-frame your clients, and they'll get tired of it too. You have clients that get tired of looking at property? All my clients get tired of looking at property. Jonathan, just write the offer.
Just write the offer.
Okay. Another thing that I use, this is my trick, and again, pre-framing them. Client must be directed on which properties to write offers on. 7 out of 10 rule. What is 7 out of 10? That's 70%, right? That's passing in high school, passing in all grades. So that's passing when it comes to homes too. I tell them you're not going to find the perfect home. You never will. It's never going to happen unless you build it from the ground up. Okay? Never going to happen. What we're looking for is location. Property is in decent condition. And when I mean decent, it means that paint and carpet need to be replaced, but the rest of the house is in working order. Okay? And the layout is probably what you're looking for. It may not have the pool, it may not have air conditioning. Those are things you can always add on. Okay? But you can't change the location. You really can't change the layout with it being too expensive. Okay? So you're looking for the basics. Okay? Focus on their needs of what they really want. Okay? You can't change location. You really can't change the layout of the house. Okay? All the other stuff is pretty easy to do. So you need to focus in on that. And when you're out writing on when you're looking at these properties with them for the first time, you want them to kind of know how it's going to work. Okay? So when you're showing them, you say, okay, yeah, this looks like the layout you want, it's the location you want. Is this a 9 out of 10? Yeah, this is a 9 out of 10. Write it down. Then when you get back in the office, what's going to happen? You don't have to ask them about writing the offer. Oh, we got 7 properties that are ready to write offers on. Boom, you just get to work. Okay? That sound like a good plan? All right. I've been using it for years. It always works. It takes all the edge off of the negotiating with them. Okay? There might be a couple of properties where you might have to negotiate with them and try and push them to write the offer, but for the most part, this is going to completely take the edge off. Okay? Prepare your clients for DocuSign. I just started using this. DocuSign is the shit. Sorry, excuse my French. But it's going to save you loads of time. Anyone use it? 2 of you? You got to use DocuSign. You guys got to use DocuSign. It's only $100 for the year. Not all clients can use it. I know I have one client right now. I actually had to print MLS sheets, drive them to her house, drop them off. She calls me the next day. I want to write these offers. Come back the next day with paper. Fun client. It's my 1 out of 100. But again, you want to use DocuSign. It's very simple. It's $100 for the year. It's going to save you loads of time, and it's going to save your clients a lot of anguish too. So what do your clients not want to do? Sit in your offers for 2 hours while you print off offers and sign them. They don't want to do that. They don't. Okay, I got the offers you want to write. I'll send them to you. You'll have them all in the next hour. Done. Or at the end of the evening, whenever you're going to write offers, whenever you do it. And all they got to do is touch and they're done. And most clients have a smartphone or a tablet or a computer, and they can do it. It's very simple. Also, you want to gear up your clients. Yes.
And you don't have to touch to do that.
They don't. You can use a computer, you can use an iPhone or an Android phone or a tablet. You can use anything that's basically electronic and hooked up into the internet. The only reason clients probably like using this if they're more tech savvy is you can do your own signature and you can do your own initials. On the computer, you can, but you gotta take a picture of it or you gotta try and do it with your mouse. On here, it's you can use your finger or a stylus, pretty easy. But either way, you can get it done through electronic signature. It's going to save you a ton of time. Okay, it's also going to save your a lot of paper at the office too. So I like that. Also, get your clients prepared to write a deposit check to you the first time they meet you for $5,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but you need to let the listing agents know that you're serious and that you're serious with your clients. Okay, most of my clients are over 300,000. How many? Your clients you're out in the lower price range, but still $5,000 is probably their whole deposit, right? Or down payment. I'm sorry. Get them to do it anyways. If anything's left over, they'll get it as a credit. The stronger your offer gets presented to the sellers, the more likely it is to get accepted. When we sold this house for $225, that appraised, it was right here in Whittier. That's why I'm pointing that way. Sorry. The difference between we had 2 offers, the exact same thing. They were both willing to bring in the cash difference. The only difference was the one guy was putting $20,000 as a deposit versus the other guy putting $5,000. That was the only difference why he got accepted. Okay, now $20,000 seems maybe a bit excessive. Okay, but $5,000 is very high. If had there been an offer $5,000 and $1,000, guess who would have got picked? The $5,000. Okay, now $5,000, most agents aren't willing to have their client come out of pocket up front that much money. I make that for all my clients. If they get really high in price range, then yeah, I'm going to do $10,000 or $15,000. Okay, but you want to set that standard really high with your clients. Okay, and especially with the listing agents. When you get an offer that's a $1,000 deposit on a $300,000 house, I'll tell my clients that's on a serious buyer. If they're a serious buyer, they're at least going to do 1%. And if they're buying a $300,000 home, the down payment on that's what, $10,500, something like that. So it's a drop in the bucket for their down payment. They need to be stepping it up. Okay, So speaking to list, everyone good with that part with the clients, pre-framing them? You guys all do that, or you learned some new tricks yet? You guys are all pros, don't even need to be here.
Hey,
Making my job easy.
About the DocuSign, you as a listing agent, everything is equal. Like you see one offer with DocuSign and the other offer with like
Same thing.
blank.
Honestly, I would prefer the agent with DocuSign because I'm going to get stuff done quicker.
Some of them, some of them says we don't want.
I know. It's usually banks that don't want it. And I've never had like a seller say I don't want DocuSign. To me, it just means that the agent's more tech savvy. They can probably get things done a little bit faster, especially like disclosures and all that stuff. You know, to me, when it comes to signing everything, I think everything should be DocuSign except the grant deed. That's the only thing that needs to be notarized and signed. Everything else, I think escrow instructions, lender instructions, and your disclosures and all that, I think all that stuff should be DocuSign. Nothing's done until the grant deed's signed and notarized. So why waste all this paper on everything else? To me, it doesn't make sense. So, but I'm sure it's coming around. But I don't think there's any difference. Even with banks like Fannie Mae won't accept DocuSign, I still send them DocuSign. I've actually had them accept my offer with DocuSign. So, I mean, you may not want to push the envelope, but I save time. If they want to get a new one from me later on, I'll send them a revised, wet signature. But otherwise, I do DocuSign for everything. So negotiating with listing agents and pre-framing them. This is probably the second most crucial part of the transaction. Okay, first crucial part is pre-framing your clients. Number one, if you don't have your clients on your side working for you the way you want them to work, you're gonna have a hell transaction. Okay. Number two is you got to pre-frame the listing agent. So always when you're talking to a listing agent, you got to get them on the phone or you got to meet them face to face. Now sometimes I get lucky and I should be showing a property and the listing agent's there, and that's when I can introduce myself and let them know the way I work, let them know how my client, my lender, everything. I gotta pre-frame their mind. Because what do most agents do? Most agents call the listing agent. How many offers you got? What are they coming in at? Okay, thanks, bye. These agents are too quick to get off the phone, and they're asking the wrong questions. The question is how many offers you have and what does it take to get accepted. Okay. The question to ask is what are your sellers looking for? That is the most crucial question. Okay. Now you take off. Now you're not going to seem like the dumb agent asking the same question every other agent asks. You need to be different. You need to stand out, right? So what is the seller looking for? Some sellers are looking for price. Some sellers are looking for terms. Some sellers are looking for quicker closings. What are they looking for? Let me give them the best offer for what they want, okay? That's what you need to do. And then I put it on there. Do not ask how many offers and what is it going to take to get accepted. That used to be my strategy. It's not anymore because it's not personalized. It's the same thing every other agent does. I hear it all the time when I get listings. You get listings? It's the same thing, right? How many offers, what does it take to get accepted? Does that piss you off? A little bit, right? You're like, come on. But if I said, hey Ned, what are your sellers looking for in that property? What do they want? Now you're going to open up and talk to me, right? I've created some real good dialogue now. Okay? It's just changing the script just a tiny bit. That's going to set you apart from the rest of the agents. So if I called you, would that work? Would you be more insightful, like, hey, he's trying to help out my client, not just, you know?
Yeah, and generally, I coach the sellers too, and I say when we look at the bids, so we're not going to look at the prices 1st.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at the buyers.
Right.
We're going to go with the strongest buyers.
Right.
And then we look at the price.
Right. So you're a good listing agent. You set the good tone. You get them going for the deal that's going to close and be realistic.
Right.
That's good. That's a separate class.
Yeah.
All right. Sell yourself. Let them know how you work and how you want to ensure a smooth closing. They need to know that you can close their transaction. That's the number one thing a listing agent needs to know, that you're going to be able to close it. Okay? They don't care about if you get your offer accepted. They want to know you're going to close that deal. Okay? So sell yourself. And I'm going to show you exactly what I tell these agents, and the same thing I send in an email or in a fax to them. I reiterate the same thing because when I get off the phone, they're probably still going to forget it, but they're going to know Jonathon Villaescusa talked to me for a long time and he said a lot of good things. And when they get this email or they get this fax, they're going to see all the same stuff I talked about on the phone on this letter. Okay, and it puts it back in their mind again. This is how I work. This is what I do. That's the way it's going to go. Also, I see this all the time. Send your offer complete. I have listings. I get offers all the time that are incomplete. They send me the RPA with the pre-approval letter, or they send me stuff I don't need. Don't send me disclosures I don't need. I hate when agents send me the agency disclosure. They send me the all kinds of stuff, TDS or whatever. They send me all kinds of stupid disclosures. Your offer's not even accepted yet. Don't bombard me with paperwork before it's even started. It's just going to piss me off.
They're working hard for nothing. If they're doing all these disclosures.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You know why? And then I got to print it off, put it with my file. It's just going to irritate me. Send me what I asked for and what I need. So read the agent remarks on the MLS. Okay? So I always include, whether they ask for it or not, I always include these top ones. So the RPA, okay, that's your purchase agreement, signed and completed. Okay, I always send proof of funds. Okay, I don't always have up-to-date proof of funds, to be honest with you, because sometimes, you know, clients may take longer, they fall out of escrow, and I got to get a new one. I really don't send a new one. What's my strategy? I don't put a date on the check. I leave the check date blank. Okay, that's the way around it, so you don't get caught. Sorry, that's for the EMD. But for your proof of funds, yeah, I keep the same bank statement. Okay, nothing's really going to change on that. Your proof of funds, if it's going to be a gift, make sure you include the gift letter. Also get that gift letter signed for the proof of funds so that it's more upfront. Okay. Credit score, again, just the top page. They want to see the top 3 scores or whatever the scores are. Your pre-approval letter from your lender and your DU approval. Now, most agents aren't going to know what a DU approval is, but explain it to them when you're talking to them on the phone. Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, I have a DU approval. Do you know what that is? No, I do not. Well, I'll let you talk to my lender about it when the time's ready. But just to give you a little bit about what a DU approval is basically it's almost like a full-on approval. Am I right? Yes. Fannie Mae says approve eligible on the top. That means they are good to go with these conditions. That means the automated system has approved their loan. So every FHA loan has to get a DU approval. Most companies do not do a M1, what is it, MU1 underwrite or M1 underwrite?
M1 underwrite.
There you go. Most companies do not do that. Do you do that? You guys do that. And how many get approved though?
Not too often.
Right. So you just want it to say approve eligible on top.
Yeah.
Bang. If the system says approve eligible, they're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't let them open up any new credit lines or buy a new car before escrow closes. Okay. So when you're always sending out your offer, you're probably not going to give it to them in person, although you may if you're at an open house and you get lucky like that. But more than likely, you're going to send them an email or fax. Okay. And above all else, I'm going to show you my Word document right now. Above all else, you must sound enthusiastic when speaking and confident with your language. So you may want to write a script. This is basically the script I use when I talk to these listing agents. Okay. But you need to be confident when you're saying it, not thinking about what you're going to say next. You need to be on it. Just like when you talk to a buyer, just like when you talk to a seller, anyone you talk to, you're usually you have a script for whatever they're going to say. Okay, I mean, even when you're speaking to a listing agent, you need to be in control of that conversation. Okay, good with that part? All right. So give me one quick second here. I'm going to show you my. Okay, so I have 2 different letters. They're basically the same thing. One is for a standard sale. So after I've done talking to them, they help me craft my offer, right? They tell me seller's looking for a 25-day close. They want contingencies period down to from 17 to 10 days and this and that. After I do all of that, this is what I'm going to send them. And I'm going to show you how I craft my offer, but this is what I send them. Good afternoon or good morning, right? Attaches my client's strong offer on your listing in Long Beach, or usually that's only if I can't get a hold of them. Usually what I put in the beginning of that, it was a pleasure speaking with you today about your listing, and really appreciate your time helping me create this offer for my client on your listing in Long Beach, whatever the case may be. Okay, but this is the basic gist of it. My buyer is very excited about this home and Can you guys see that? Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My client is very excited about this home and will do what it needs to be done in order to get their offer accepted and close this transaction. Just to let you know, the way I work to speed up the process is I get the disclosure signed and back to you for seller's signature, home inspection, and appraisal done within the first 5 days. How many of you right now tell listing agents that? Never, right? We never say that, but that is probably one of the first things that they look for is you're going to be hauling ass on this transaction. So if I get all this done, the only thing we have left to worry about is the appraisal. So you think if I get all this done in 5 days, we're hauling ass in this transaction? Hell yeah, there we are. We're going to be closing in 21 days. Okay. and just to get all again to get it all out of the way and to assure a smoother and quicker escrow. Also, my lender is a direct lender that knows the way I work, and she will need the escrow instructions and prelim as soon as we get the accepted offer to ensure the same service of a smooth and quicker escrow. How many agents do you think tell that to the listing agent? Probably none. Again, now what are you doing? You're overqualifying yourself for this transaction, letting you know exactly how to close a transaction, right? Only an agent that knows how to close transactions would say this, right? Brand new agents or even agents that are seasoned, they don't say it, right? They're missing the things that what it takes to get an offer accepted. Me as a listing agent, I look at this, I go, shit, Jonathon Villaescusa knows his stuff. He knows exactly what he's doing. He didn't miss one thing out of being able to close this transaction. He talked about every single thing that needs to happen in this transaction in this email. He's letting me know the time frame of how it's going to get done. Do I look like a genius? Do I look like really good buyer's agent right now? Compared to the other 20 offers, I probably look like the only buyer's agent. Okay, if you have any questions, you can call me on my cell, clearly right there. If you need to contact my lender, there's their number. You can call her right there. Again, thank you for so much and have an outstanding day. Very simple. That's for a standard sale or like an REO, right? Because REO is standard sales, almost the same thing. Now I also have one for short sales. The only other difference on a short sale, as I say, my client, here we go. My client also understands the process of the short sale, and if her offer is accepted, she would be willing to put her deposit in escrow while we wait for the short sale approval letter. If you have a short sale listing, does that sound good? Because what do buyers want to do? Never put money in escrow while you get the approval. So am I going to look good? Hell yeah, I'm going to look good. I'm talking about all the things the listing agent wants to hear. I'm good at working with buyers because I do still do a lot of listings, even though I don't have any right now. Because I've been on the listing side so much, I know exactly what to look for as a listing agent, right? Because I've had transactions where it's gone to crap. I've learned my lesson. Now I know how to pre-frame the whole thing. So it works on both sides. So to me, now, to be a great listing agent, you got to be a great buyer's agent because you got to know how to work that side of the business. And to be a great buyer's agent, you got to be a great listing agent. It works kind of hand in hand because you learn both skill sets, right? So very simple, right? Now, the other part of this, when I send my offers out, wrong document, create letterhead. If you have to fax your offer out, you need to create a letterhead. You want this to look personalized. You want this to look very professional. So this is my letterhead. It has my logo up on top, has all my information to the right, and this is for something else, but I would just copy and paste that letter in there, print it off, sign it myself, send it out with my offer. This would be the second document behind my fax cover sheet. Okay? You have to keep explaining to everyone. When you tell things to buyers, you tell them once, or you tell them like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Right? Repetition is a mother of skill. So if you're the agent that keeps telling them how you work and how you do things, they're going to work with you because agents want to work with people that know what they're doing, right? If you had a choice to work with an agent that knew what they're doing or didn't know what they're doing, who are you going to work with? All day, right? We're all working with the agent that knows what he's doing. Okay. Again, getting your offer accepted, most of the battle is with this listing agent. You have to qualify yourself. Okay.
Jonathon, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a presentation on this same subject.
Okay.
And it was a lender who claimed to be like #1 buyer's agent, whatever. And in addition to the letter about themselves, where you talk about what your skill set is and the things that you're going to do,
right?
Do you think it would be advantageous to put in like a short bio of the buyer themselves? That's what he recommended.
I think it may work for your special, not for the listing agent, but for the seller.
Yeah.
I would probably only do that, and this is just my taste. I would probably only do it where the property I actually visited with the clients, with the sellers there, and we talk to them, and I can, that's probably when I would do it. Otherwise, the letters, it's not going to mean anything to them. Oh, here's their sad story. But if they meet them, they can put a face to the name and all that, like at an open house, and then it's more personalized.
That would make more sense.
It would, because you're never going to speak to the seller. So to give something like that to the seller just doesn't make sense for me. It may work, but I've never done it. But what I do when I meet the sellers is I say, hey, my name is Jonathon Villaescusa. Make sure to look for my offer because we are writing you an offer. These are my clients' names. It's going to be a very strong offer, and I would pretty much leave it at that. I don't tell them anything else. I don't want to cross the line, but I want to make sure they know my name and they know my clients' names. And that's the main thing. As long as they know those names, they got in their head, oh, I got to, They may forget, but chances are they'll probably remember, oh, I got to look for this agent. He was here. He showed the property. He sounded really good, or his clients really liked it, whatever. You got to try and set yourself apart, but you don't want to step over that line of ethics. Good with that part? All right, so we'll get into writing the offer. Sorry about that. Computer's going to die on me. All right. So this is for one of my buyers. Can you guys see that, or is that blurry? You can see it. It's all good. Okay. So on your offers, this is just my own strategy because I use DocuSign again. I always leave the date off because I use it with DocuSign. Because I hate having to go in Car and change the date on every single line they have to sign. Such a pain in the butt. I'd rather just do it on DocuSign. Again, you want to put their name. You want to be complete. This is on a residential income purchase agreement. Okay. You want to be full. You want to have the full address in the property. You also want to include the APN. I know the APN sounds really minute, but when it comes to escrow, they want that APN number because escrow needs the APN number. Okay, that's where escrow works with, not so much the property address. Okay, so you want to make sure you include that on there. Now, when it comes to doing the purchase price, how many of you know how to pull comparables very well? A couple of you. I actually have a video on YouTube right now if you don't know how to do pull comparables. You know, what do appraisers look at? They're only willing to go out usually a mile, right? They want the last 90 days closed, and they're really only looking at sold comparables. They don't care if it's pending, they don't care if it's active. Okay, and I've gotten in trouble with it. Okay, even though all the stuff may be pending for 40,000 higher, comps are 40,000 lower, you gotta wait. And sometimes I get real crafty and I call those listing agents or the buyer's agents. Hey, has the appraisal been done yet? Cool, what did it come in at? Do you mind if you send me a copy? I'll send you a gift card. Get that appraisal, right? Now they can use it to close this transaction, right? And usually listing agents don't know that. They just say, oh, it's not closed yet, forget it. We'll just have to do a price reduction. Get crafty. Think of new ways to get things done, okay? I think the listing agent probably isn't really going to care, but if you send them, $20 gift card and it saves your transaction, $20 is $20. That's a drop in the bucket to make 10 grand, okay? And it's real simple. It's a simple phone call. I've done it a few times, okay? Again, make sure you have comparables for all your offers that you write. So this offer I wrote for $435,000. I know when I write this offer, the comparables are there for $435,000, okay? Now it gets a little bit trickier. The reason I've had two fall of escrow because of the appraisal is they were income properties, and income properties a little bit tougher, especially in LA, to get these comparables for. I'm trying to base my comparables off of income. The appraiser's not looking at that. They're looking at something else. They're looking at the cost of reproduction. So I've gotten in trouble. So I've learned too. But for single-family homes, it's pretty easy. You go out, 0.99 miles on the map search from the MLS. You want to keep it within 300 square feet of the same home. So if the house is 900, don't go over 1,200 square feet on the appraisal. All right?
Right.
They won't take anything over, right? It's going to be too big. So it's just little tiny things, and that's what you want to look for. Okay? If the property is in decent condition, you probably can still use a real high comparable, even though it's a flip. It just might be a tiny bit less. Okay? And the appraiser may even appraise it for that higher value just because they know the market is swinging upwards. If it's within reason. If it's, a couple thousand, not 20, 30,000. They're not probably going to do that.
And to also look at the comparables are the same. So if it's a standard sale,
Right.
that they're not using foreclosed for
Right.
short sale.
Well, actually, now I've been using foreclosed, but not short sale. REOs. I don't know if you've seen that. In my last meeting, I talked about it. REO prices are up probably like 25%. The banks are not discounting them now, so they're almost even. They're still a little bit less, but like short sales. Like if I got a flip for $350, an REO might be selling for $340, but a short sale is still selling for like $295. So yeah, I discount the short sales, but the REOs in most areas I've seen, they're really close still. So I still use the REOs. Before I didn't, now I do. Okay, and again, how many comparables do you need? Appraiser needs at least 3, right? At least 3 closed. Okay, so if you don't have those 3, you may run into some issues. And again, talk to your lender. They may have a good relationship with the appraisal management company. Maybe they can do a value check for you if you're unsure. Okay, and with these properties, sometimes that's what I do. hey, I got this property. Can you do a value check? Tony does it all the time too. Let me know what it can go for. I sold the listing, and I thought everyone thought I was overpriced. I sold it in Norwalk for $495 beginning of the year. Across the street, a property sold for $491, and it was 400 square feet larger, but it wasn't as nice. Ours was 400 square feet less, but it had all been remodeled. So we sold it for $5,000 more. We sold it for $496. Appraisal came in, and the only reason why I was able to do that is because I contacted my lender. I got the buyer to switch to my lender, and the appraiser told me this is what it's going to come in at. If you get an offer, I'll get it appraised for this amount. Done. Okay, so you always want to check, especially if you're a listing agent too. If they're trying to push value, it might help you out a little bit. Okay, on this offer, I put a bold. You guys see that? 21 days. How many of you do that? Sometimes, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. Not every time you're gonna be able to get it closed in 21 days, and not every lender is gonna be able to. I mean, even the best lender can't do every loan in 21 days. Even if you prep it 100% and it's a slam dunk deal. Real estate is a roller coaster ride. There's always going to be some stupid thing that slows it down, and maybe they get a child support lien that pops up, and they may not even have a lien, but because they have child support, it's a lien. They got to clear it with title. Right? So there's always these little tiny things, but you got to be bold. And I told a listing agent the other day actually, said my seller doesn't have any offers on the table, but they only want cash because they want to close in 3 weeks. And I said, well, let's do this. I'm going to give you a 21-day escrow. And we're going to put my lender to the test. I'll do $125 a day per diem every day they don't close on time. Think I look good? Hell yeah, I look good. So now I look like the agent that's actually going to get it done. How many of you, prior to this, would have used that strategy? Hell no, right? You don't want a per diem, right? I just call my lender, hey, we got this offer accepted. We have to close it in 21 days, or you're paying a per diem of $125 a day. What are they going to do? Haul ass. You tell your lender that, they're going to be happy because this is a 435. You're making what, like 3 points on that? 12 grand? Hell yeah, you're going to haul ass for 12 grand. Right? Maybe even more if you get 1 point up front. Right? Again, talk to the listing agents. You'll get the information you need to know. Okay? Again, you got to get the right lender. Not every lender can do this. And even if they don't close in 21 days, they're going to still close within 30. Okay, so I'm not pushing this envelope real far out. A lot of agents will say I'll close it in 25 days, but they still take 2 months to close it. That agent's going to be pissed off at you and never going to work with you again. Okay, a lot of the agents that I work with, they work with investors. So what are the chances of me working with them again? Very high, right? We're not leaving this market. The market's going to change. The values are going to go back down. Investors are here to stay. Okay, you got to have some listing agents with inventory that like you. By doing this, I actually have one listing agent that sends me all his buyer referrals. And all the buyer referrals are in Fullerton, so all my sales prices are over $400,000. Says I don't want to work with them, but I like the way you work. You deal with all my buyer referrals. Simple. And it's because I use the same strategy. All right, so on your confirmation, of course, you're always going to put the company names. Make sure you get those right. You don't want to mess those up. You don't want to look dumb. The initial deposit is $5,000. Everyone knows how to calculate loan amounts. You're just going to go ahead and put whatever the loan amount is. This property, she's going FHA, so I check that on there. Actually, I'm going over an hour. I thought this was going to be a quick seminar. This is good. How you guys liking it so far?
Awesome.
All right, good. I like to hear that. So you always want to have verification of down payment and closing costs attached, okay? Everyone knows what that is, right? Proof of funds, bank statement. Awesome. Loan applications, I actually I don't need to check that box because I have the other box checked where it says letter is attached. Okay, don't say you're gonna send it 3 days later because that's just gonna create more work for the listing agent that they don't want to do. Okay, so send it with everything. Again, complete offer up front. Your loan contingency, 15 days. I just do the 2 days just to make it sound a little bit more attractive than 17. Realistically, if I wanted, I could probably do 10 because I'm gonna get everything done quickly, but I still want to have a little bit of cushion, and 15 sounds better than 17 because nobody else is doing that. The other thing that I do, I don't have it checked on here, but I should. On most cases right now, and this is going to sound maybe really scary to you guys, I check the box not contingent upon appraisal. I check the box not contingent upon appraisal. Why do I do that? Number one, I know what the value is probably going to come in at because I've already done my research. So I have a very good idea when I write this offer, my value should come in at that amount. Okay. Number 2, if it's way off, do I still have a contingency? I still have my contingency of loan contingency, right? And if I can't get my loan, then I can cancel. Appraisal comes in too far low, and no, I'm not going to be able to negotiate it. I just cancel. I'm sorry, Mr. Listing Agent, but the buyers don't have enough funds to bring in that amount. You know, if we thought it was in a few thousand, we would be able to do it, but the appraisal just came in far too low. I'm sorry, but we have to cancel. Okay. And usually I'll still send them like a $15 gift card just for accepting my offer, so I don't look like a shitty agent still. And you know, I still want to look good because you never know, I might have to work with them again. So you always want to keep good relationships. Okay. The other thing you can do is even if it's within a few thousand short, what can you still do? What do we do? What's our job? They pay us to negotiate. They pay us to negotiate. Negotiate your ass off. You know what? By mistake, they went out and bought some new furniture for the place, and they used up their money that I told them they needed to keep for this. But they really still want to buy the house. Is it possible the seller's going to be able to come down this couple of thousand? Hell yeah. Why would they want to cancel if it's just a few thousand short? Why would they put the property back on the market, pay another payment? It's going to cost them $2,000 or $3,000 because most investors use hard money, right? Why would they do that? Because they're pissed off? Investors don't think that way. Most of them. The good ones don't. They think monetarily. They're in business to make money. Let's get it closed. If you're that far at the finish line, let's get it done. Good with that part? Doesn't sound too sticky? Doesn't sound too far-fetched? Good strategy? Told you I had some good stuff. All right. Okay, if you're going all cash, this probably really doesn't apply to you, this whole seminar. But when it comes to inspection and reports, I leave off the WPA. Anyone know why? Because I don't want to bog down the transaction, because then my lender is going to ask me for a clearance or a waiver. Escrow is going to ask me for a clearance or a waiver. That's going to be some shit I have to get signed. It's going to take 2 or 3 days extra. It's going to delay my transaction. Leave it off of the contract. You can still include it in your transaction. Okay? Still get the termite inspection done. Tell your clients, you want to pay for it? We can ask the seller if they want to pay for it. But leave it out of the contract. The more you put on the contract, the more the lender wants to see, the more the lender's going to slow it down. Right? Anyone know that? No, just a couple of you? Okay. Right? Am I right? You got a lender in the house. Does it slow your transaction?
Yes, it does.
Right? It's something so stupid as a termite inspection report.
But generally, with a conventional type loan, they don't make the termite a condition of funding, right?
Right.
Even FHA, they don't require it.
Right.
Oh, really?
If it's not checked off, then.
If
okay.
it's checked off, anything on this, if it's checked off, if you attach it with, on page 4 or whatever, if you attach other disclosures, they want to see it. So I've learned, because I get, I want to close quick. I'm still going to do all the stuff my buyer wants me to do that I should do. I'm just not going to put it on the contract and slow his job down. Because his job is to close fast. Yes, sir.
How about like the short sale addendum? I just send it in.
You have to have that. You have to have the short sale addendum attached.
REO.
REO addendum as well. But those aren't things that are going to slow you down, because when you send the offer out, escrow is going to send the same thing back to the lender. So you're not going to have to worry about that. But when it comes to a report, then you have to actually get a report done, or let's say you check the box, God forbid you forget to do the termite inspection, and you're 17 days in the transaction, you've never done the inspection, your lender's telling you, hey, where's this, or they're calling escrow, where's the clearance at? Escrow calls you, we don't have a clearance, what are you talking about? Escrow calls the agent, right? And that's probably been a day and a half right there before they get back to the agent. Shoot, I was supposed to do that, I completely forgot. Let me call the termite company. Another day for them to go back out, or you just waive it, which is still going to take you another day because you got to get the waiver signed. Just minimize it. Okay, it's just going to save so much time and so much headache. You'll thank me later. Okay, home inspection. I actually should leave this off. I keep checking it, but even a home inspection, you want to see it, right? So leave it unchecked. I put it on there by mistake. Leave it off. Still get
repairs. They're not going to close until the repairs are.
Well, this is the thing. Let's say, because it's not. Let's say the appraisal comes in, and let's say there were no smoke detectors and no carbon monoxide detectors, and there was no strap on the water heater. But because, what was his name again, sir? Danny. Danny has a great relationship with the appraiser. He's told him to look the other way, and he did. And he signed off on the appraisal, and he sent it in to the appraisal management company. underwriter gets the file, they get the appraisal, everything looks good. They look at the offer, they say, oh, we need this home inspection. Home inspector goes out to the property and says there's no carbon monoxide detectors, there's no smoke detectors, and there's no strap on the water heater. Now what's going to happen? They're going to get pissed off at the appraiser for not calling that repair out, and they're going to make you do the repairs anyways now. So leave it off. All right?
Yeah.
Or am I bullshitting?
Absolutely.
Sound like I know my shit today. I'm on fire. All right. Now this one may sound tricky for you guys or a little odd. Escrow and title, buyer and seller each their own. Okay, that's standard, right? Even if the seller's going to pay for it, it's each their own. Now, just because I have a great escrow officer now, I have my own company, I always put it before, but I put it more so now. The worst they're going to do is counter me on it, but I want to get control of the escrow if I can. If I can. Some agents will, some agents won't. It all just depends on the agent. Okay? If you have your own company or you want to work with a specific company, with investors, what's the key word that they want to hear to get that escrow, or you to get that escrow? Discount. They want to hear discount. And most of my people that I get offers accepted for, they're investors. You know what? If the offer gets accepted, I can talk to them even after they counter me and say, you know what? Would it be still okay if we used our escrow? I know you counter me on it, but what I can do since I own the company, or because I have a great relationship with that company, and they're still going to get great service, I can give you like a flat rate. Most escrow companies right now for investors are giving them a flat rate of like $600 on the seller side. Most escrow companies. Okay, so that's something that you may be able to offer. Okay, I like to get control. Not escrow officers are created equal. I've dealt with some horrific escrow officers and I hate it because they're slow as shit sometimes. Sorry, excuse my French again, but I hate it.
And
Worst-
Parkfield offers $600 flat rate for investor buyers.
Talk to my wife, but yeah, we'll do something like that. But yeah. I hate escrow offers that are super slow. I remember listing agent, I told them we're going to close in 21 days. It took escrow a whole week, right? Monday, my offer got accepted the previous Friday. I didn't get escrow instructions, not the following week, but the following after on that Monday. It took a whole 5 business days plus 2 weekends to get escrow instructions. Is that going to delay my transaction? All those days I lost, it's going to slow it down. You know? So... Huh?
Is that similar?
No, that was, and they actually have a lot of investor accounts. I'm trying to target them. International City Escrow, ICE. Slower than crap. I could not believe it. I could not, and they have a ton. All the investors that I've represented with different agents, different companies, all these investors use ICE. All of them. So I think I could just go in there and snake all that business from underneath. I could literally pull the carpet out from underneath them because they're just way too slow. And for an investor, slow is not something you want to be a part of. Just not. Especially if they have hard money. When it comes to title, I just give it to the seller. I don't really care who picks it. To me, title is going to be title. You know, if you do want to, because they have a lot of accounts, my wife can get discounts on title. So if you really want to push for it, talk to your escrow officer. Most escrow officers, if they have a lot of volume with these escrow companies, they'll be able to get a discount on that. And most investors right now, if they're smart, they're getting discounts on title. Besides from the binder, they're getting discounts on top of that. Okay. Okay. So other costs, seller's going to pay for city and county transfer tax. That's probably standard for most of our offers that we write. The one that I think throws everyone off is I always ask for closing costs still. I always still ask for it. I don't let that affect me. If they have the money, then great. I'll do it. But most buyers barely have the money, or I think I'm good enough at negotiating. Even if I do have the money, I say we're going to get the seller to pay for it. Use that money for when you move in. You know, you're going to be buying $10,000 worth of appliances at the Best Buy when it's the Black Friday sale. So don't worry about it, and we'll negotiate it. I've really never had an offer not get accepted because of that. Never. Most sellers know they have to pay closing costs, even if they're diehard. I don't want to pay closing costs. If the listing agent's a good listing agent, he'll sell it to the sellers and say, look, they're giving you this amount of money. You're still netting this much more. You're paying the closing costs. They're going to close on time. What do you want to do? Most listing agents, if they frame it right, you'll still get it accepted. And when it comes to investors, it's about 35% of our market right now. They're paying for it anyways. They don't care. They just want to get it done. All the rest of the stuff, on this one, you have to check the box. Buyer intends to occupy the property. but all the rest of the stuff is pretty much going to be standard. The only other thing that I do include, see how here I don't include any boxes, blank slate, so he doesn't ask me for shit when it comes to closing. The only other trick you can do, and I've never used it, but it's a strategy I picked up from another agent. I thought it was very, very smart, extremely genius, and something that I would have never even thought of. As he puts in an acceleration clause. Ever heard of that? Heard of it? Anyone know what an acceleration clause is? He puts in an acceleration clause. It says, acceleration clause, we will increase our offer by $1,000 or $2,000 over the highest bid up to $455,000. So if somebody bids $455,000, we're going to bid $457,000 off the bat without having to even counter. That sounds pretty crafty, right? Risky or crafty?
Well, if your buyer has money, sure.
Well, I mean, if they can do the loan, I mean, you got to explain it with your clients, but it's it's something that could separate you from the difference. I don't want to get countered if I can get accepted. And if $1,000 or $500, whatever your client's willing to do, it doesn't even have to be cash. The property could still appraise for that value.
Now, what does it say?
Acceleration clause.
No, but what did he write in acceleration clause?
Acceleration clause, buyer is willing to bid $2,000 over highest bid up to a certain amount. So let's say on this offer I bid $435,000. Let's say a client comes in and offers $440,000. And let's say my client's willing to bid $2,000 over.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go, automatically our offer is $442,000 now.
So, but if you're going to put up to, you still want to make sure that you're up to
Right,
amount
up to a
that's
certain
getting
amount.
appraised.
Up to a certain amount, right.
Okay.
Up to a certain amount. Yeah, so if they say you put 440 but they offered 450, then it's not gonna work, right? 'Cause it's too high now. But if they're within reason or whatever, then it'll work. And it's, again, that could be the difference between getting a counter and getting accepted. We'd rather get a counter versus offer accepted. Hell no, we want to get accepted. That sound tricky? No? Sticky? Crafty? Crafty? All right. I thought it was pretty. You guys think that's good?
Absolutely.
Another agent taught me that one. I thought that was really good. Ever think of that? Ever seen it? You've seen it?
Use it.
Use it? All right. I don't. Was it you that told me? Maybe not.
Probably.
Probably. All right. So the rest of the stuff is all pretty standard. I leave it all blank.
Where
Right.
do you put that acceleration clause in other terms, or is it
Other terms, yeah. If you want to write it on an addendum, you can, but I'd rather try and keep it simplified and just put it right there on that blank space because it's another term, so you can include it there. Again, I don't know if you guys always do this, but you always want to make sure you put your name in that box so you can accept confirmation. And that's going to be it for the class, guys, because the rest of the stuff is all standard. So how do you guys think?
Awesome.
Think that's gonna work, or full of steam?
Good stuff.
Good stuff. So what key things were the main takeaway? What one strategy have you learned today that would probably set you apart from the rest that you're not using right now?
Asking the listing agent what their seller is looking for, quick to close, whatever
Okay.
they're looking for.
So you're not doing that right now. I know you're a loan officer, but you're gonna tell your agents to do this now.
Yeah, what I do is I just show them this is how qualified my buyer is, the FICO, the reserves,
Right.
the income, DTI,
Okay.
all that good stuff. But that's awesome to find out exactly what they're looking for.
Well, you, Victor.
The letters.
The letters.
Yeah, just send the offer. That's it. But I mean, the letters looks more professional.
Right.
For the listing.
You have listings? How many times do you see that? Never, right? How many of you get offers from agents? You never even talk to them on the phone, and they send you an offer. They are on the bottom of the list, right? They're not even willing to pick up the phone to call you to figure out what it takes. I'm not working with you.
I haven't even put the house on. I haven't even given somebody the combo to go look at the house. It's like,
You know, it's funny. It's funny. What about you, Jay?
I think the portion most is the pre-framing part.
Okay.
And the part that you spoke of with the 7 out of 10 rule.
Mm-hmm.
Just prepping people because maybe that's been a little sticky part from waiting to get to that point
Right.
instead of pre-framing and putting it right at the front.
Right.
so
That's good.
if you get a buyer call you or referral or whatever, when do you prep them? When you meet with them on the first showing date? Or,
That's it.
Okay.
If
That's what I usually do. Is I explain to them. Because
to me, I just kind of think of it like a first date.
right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it all out there the way I am, and if you don't like it, that's fine with me too. Because if you don't like it, then it's gonna be a pain in the ass to work with you. And just like a date, if you're gonna be a pain in the ass, I don't want to be with you. Even though I'm married, you know, my wife's a great wife, but I mean,
But we
everyone that's dated, right? You don't want to put up with BS, right? Why wait to find out? Throw it out there in the front. Tell them how it's gonna be, the way you work. They will respect you more. I've never actually had anyone walk out on me and say they don't want to work with me because that sounds too tough. They respect you more for it because you sound really intelligent when you're telling them things. And then when I tell them we're going to write 7 out of 10 offers and none of them are going to get accepted and none of them do, now guess what happens? I reaffirmed my statement. I've made it true because I told them up front we're probably going to write 20, 30, 40, 50 offers. You know, I still write a lot, but I do it a lot faster. You know, I'm writing every time we're looking at property. For every one buyer, I'm probably writing anywhere between 10 to 15 offers. You know, in like 3 or 4 days, I'm writing a ton of offers, and that's the name of the game right now. It's writing offers, and you really got to try and prep clients that pre-framing. It's not going to be perfect. It never is. It's never going to be perfect unless it's built from the ground up the way you like it, and even then, it probably won't be. You know, I use an example of my mom. I didn't represent her, but I told her, because this was way back in the day, but I told her, don't buy a house that's going to be more expensive because it looks really nice right now, even though there's a lot of nice flips on the market. This is when the market had just crashed. And she wanted to spend more for her home, and just because based on its looks. I said, Mom, don't do it. Don't fall for the trap. You know, I sell a lot of these homes, but realistically, the only thing you're really buying is a kitchen, which is about 10 grand. That's the main thing that you're buying, and you're spending about $50,000 more for it on average or more. But most of these homes are just putting paint and carpet, and they're calling it remodeled, right? And they just paint the kitchen doors and they paint everything, and then they just put carpet, and now it looks brand new. And you're going to pay another 60, 70, 80, 90,000 for that. Find a home that's in the good area that may look like crap, but only going to take 5 to 10 grand to fix it up. Okay? Because when you save a little bit more money, and you can do it yourself. Right? Why waste all this money, buy this expensive home? And what happened? A year later, I wanted to redo the kitchen. I want to paint the house. I want to do the carpet. I want to do the tile. Mom, I told you. She said, I know, but, you know, I didn't listen. I said, well, don't take a professional's advice. Because everyone does it. Right? Everyone changes the paint and the carpet. That's why I always say paint and carpet are not main things when it comes to a house. The main thing is kitchens and bathrooms. You know, all the rest of the house is pretty easy to do. Or, yeah, kitchen and bathrooms is the most expensive part. So, again, pre-framing your client. And I use that story all the time. So that when they look at properties, they go, it's in the area that I want. It has a good layout. The walls look like garbage, and the floor looks like it's from the 50s. The kitchen looks okay. It's been updated or whatever. But, again, you just want to pre-frame it up front correctly. So that when they go, it's already in their head like, oh, yeah, we're writing an offer. You know, because I used to have that trouble getting back in the office. Okay, which ones did you like? I think we like this one. I don't know this. You know, the paint in that room. I didn't like that. I'm not gonna write an offer on that one. Ever had that happen? Sure. Right. So those little tiny things, they're all gonna change it no matter what. Right? Everyone here bought a house? What's the first thing you probably do? Paint and carpet. Paint and carpet, right? Because carpet, you don't want to be, you know, laying down on somebody else's filth. You want new carpet, and paint. You know, you want to make it your own house. So those are the first things.
Orange?
Huh?
You don't want the fluorescent orange? Actually, I was showing a house that had fluorescent orange paint.
Where was it in like South
It was
Central?
in the kitchen. No.
Oh, in the house.
It was in the
Oh.
house.
I've shown some like pink houses. I think that's funny. Pink, bright orange on the outside. I don't mean to pick on Hispanics, but I'm like, oh, they must be Hispanic.
You know the race by the color. And there's a blur of the cross that was originally posted on the wall. So.
Well, where I go, it's I got the statue. I got the Virgin Mary in front of the house, and then I got the little plaque on the front door. It says "We are Catholic," because where I live in Southgate, so I get a bunch of Jehovah's Witness knocking on our door. As they're if you want to learn how to be a great real estate agent, become a Jehovah's Witness. Anyone Jehovah's Witness? No, we're all Catholic. We're all good Catholics. Go to church 4 times a year. Right? Easter, Lent, Christmas, and there's one more in there. I forget. I'm Catholic, if you didn't know.
I'm the CEO.
You're what?
CEO.
CEO, what's that?
Christmas, Easter.
So,
It's just good. My mom used to take us to such our sin, our goodness with
so, any other good tips that you learned today?
Oh, good.
I like that summary letter where you tell them what's actually going to transpire.
Okay.
You're going to do all those disclosures, everything else, because it's right there. That's
Right.
good.
Did you think I missed anything? You went to the other seminar. Did he talk on all this stuff too? Or did he miss something?
Actually, he didn't touch on the summary page,
Okay.
but he did pretty much everything else. But his big thing was presenting the offer in person. That was the main thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then doing the 1-page bio and maybe photo of the buyers,
Mm-hmm.
and then do just like a short summary of the buyer's agent.
Okay. I've heard the strategy too, where you drop it off in person to the listing agents.
Yeah, right.
May not always work. That's why I don't like doing it. Because if you can, then great. But to me, if I can talk to them on the phone, and I build some good rapport with them, and I reaffirm it in my letter, I know I'm pretty well. I'm pretty well off. And realistically, again, I get my offers accepted in about 10 days from showing them. It works pretty well. I don't have too much tough luck.
How often does the gift card offering the appraiser gift card to send the report?
I've only had to use it like 3 times.
Yeah.
I just
That's awesome.
whatever it is. I mean, if it's $25, it's $25. I mean, realistically, the best thing that you really. I mean, I'm young in the business still too. I got 30 plus years in this business. The worst thing you can do for me is tarnish your name. And if I spread my name out there, most of these listing agents are going to be in the business a long time. Most of these appraisers, loan officers, whatever it is, you want to, even though you may not work with them, you can still remain very cordial and very professional with them. And you can still do these nice little things for them and make them feel special. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We all want to feel important. We all want to feel special. If I just called you and said, hey, I need this thing, could you send it over? And then I offer you anything, you're probably not going to do it. And even if you do, you're not going to like doing it. But if I send you I say, hey, I'll send you out to a nice dinner for you and your wife, or whatever it is, and it's worth it to me. My average commission is about $9,000, and I probably spend maybe about $700 on everything when it's all done, because I usually give the buyers a little bit of credit towards the end and whatever. But it's just you got to spend a little money, I think, to make a little money, and it's what's going to set me apart from the rest, and it's going to help me build my name for the future. I want to still be a buyer's agent 30 years down the road, and I want to be able to call agents and say, hey, Jay, how old are you going to be in 30 years?
105.
You're going to be 105 in 30 years? You're 75 right now?
Very close.
Very close, really? You look very young.
Thank
I can't believe it. At 75, that's a good job, man. You look very young. Oh, he's teasing now.
you. We went too far. Sorry.
Say, what are you eating? But again, if you know the way I work, we've done a couple of good deals together, even though maybe one had fallen apart, but I still kept everything kosher. And I still sent you another deal. You're probably still going to want to work with me, even if one fell out, and we remain cordial and everything's nice. I have these deals fall out. I send these listing agents gift cards still. I got to keep rapport, because you never know if you're going to use them again. If you're going to have to be a part of that transaction. So you just want to keep it very, you always want to keep it personalized, not generic. So, any questions, guys?
We can just share the appraisal, or we need an authorization from
It's up to the appraiser. I mean, once it gets appraised, if it's already appraised, it's going to be public data anyways. So there's really not an issue. The issue is it gets appraised, but you're probably maybe 10 or 15 days away from closing, and you can't wait that long. Right, so that's why I offer that incentive, $25 or $30, whatever it is.
But the other agent will use that appraisal to support.
Right, yeah, it's so he's the loan officer. The loan officer is the one that's going to need it, right? So if I get an appraisal from another guy, he appraised it. I don't even think it has to be uploaded to HUD yet, right? For FHA, as long as it's appraised and the buyer paid for it, their buyer, then you can still use it. That appraiser will still look at that because it's been appraised. Because either way, even if it falls out of escrow, that appraiser still has to upload it to the HUD website, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So either way, it's just you're just gonna save 10 or 15 days from that deal closing. That's the thing. So it's all negotiation. Be nice, talk enthusiastic, talk with confidence. Talk like they're important, not like they're a piece of meat and you're trying to buy it. Really gotta work them up. Just think of it as you're going on a date. I hate using that expression, but it always works. When you're on a date, you're always like A gang, Sue's perfect, your suit's perfect, tie's done. You speak perfectly. There's not really any messing up. So that's kind of how you want to be. Very amicable, I guess you could say. Very, very open, and that's how you want to be. And that's, I think, my main characteristic why I kind of get things done is they see the character in me. It's not, hey, I'm trying to get this person in escrow and sell them a house. It's, I'm really trying to take care of everyone in the transaction at the same time. So, Tony Robbins strategy, I guess. Any other questions, guys and ladies? All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out. We can all network and mingle now. And this will all